If you felt that dating apps have lost their appeal, you're not alone. These apps turn the art of romance into a numbers game, where people are treated like commodities on a market rather than people trying to look for genuine connections. But why is this happening? How is it becoming harder and harder to find genuine connections on these platforms? It's because of how superficial, vain, and time-consuming these apps have become. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact pitfalls of dating apps and why you should avoid them. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, here are 10 ways dating apps derail romance. Number 10. Overemphasis on physical appearance. Dating apps put a lot of emphasis on looks. It's all about those hot profile pics. It's like a competition of who can take the most flattering selfie, and women love a handsome face. While there's nothing wrong with that, oftentimes your own worth gets reduced to just that. They say not to judge a book by its cover, but the fast-paced nature of these apps prioritizes looks first and personality later. Research shows that this type of obsession can lead to lower self-esteem, body dysmorphia, and unhealthy eating habits. People then start chasing this unrealistic idea of beauty, and it's not really about looking good anymore. It's deeper than that. It's making us overthink how people judge us just based on our looks. But who you are is so much more than just an attractive picture. You're not just your muscles or a smile. You're about more than just your looks. But to some people, that's all you'll be for the 2 seconds they look at you on their phone before deciding which direction to swipe in. Number 9. Paradox of choice. Ever feel like you're constantly swiping on Tinder, always waiting for the one to pop up? Well, having so many choices might be keeping you from making a choice at all. It's like how a kid in a candy store can't decide on picking just one treat. There's actual science behind this mess. Research says that too much swiping can make people freeze when it comes time to actually choose a match. With more and more options popping up every second, expectations go sky high and satisfaction goes way down. We find ourselves stuck in an endless cycle of aimlessly swiping right, but never really connecting. Men especially become victims of this abundance of choice. Women swipe right only 5% of the time. Meanwhile, men swipe right about 53% of the time. Women get way more matches than men because they have so many other men to choose from. Roughly 70% of the profiles on Tinder all belong to men. The odds are stacked against you, and at this point, it all becomes a numbers game. So where's the romance in that? Number 8. Misrepresentation. Misrepresentation in dating apps is a digital masquerade where profiles might be more fiction than fact, leading you down a path of false expectations and wasted time. This isn't just a hunch, it's a documented phenomenon. A study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships reveals that men are prone to encountering profiles that inflate personal achievements or distort relationship intentions. This strategic misrepresentation is not just about tweaking the truth, it's about crafting an entirely different narrative to attract attention or to hide insecurities. It can be hard to find out who's being truthful and who's just putting up a facade, pulling you into a game that you reluctantly have to play anytime you match with someone. Cut through the noise. Seek authenticity in profiles and interactions. Watch out for inconsistencies. But the best advice would be to ditch the app. Real connections are made in reality, not in the carefully curated galleries of dating apps. Number 7. Communication barriers. You've got charm and wit, but when it comes to typing out that charm, something gets lost in translation. The subtleties of your humor, the depth of your questions, the sincerity of your compliments, all can be misconstrued in a flood of text. A study by The Guardian shows how online dating has reshaped the way we fall in love. They point out that the absence of nonverbal cues and the confinement of dating to a private digital platform can lead to misunderstandings and a lack of emotional depth. You have to choose your words carefully, use humor thoughtfully, and ask questions that invite meaningful responses. And most importantly, when the timing is right, shift the conversation away from the app. Voice calls, video chats, and face-to-face interactions. These are your tools to overcome those barriers. The aim isn't just to match, it's to connect. And a genuine connection goes beyond clever text. It requires the full spectrum of communication, which is only achievable if you go outside the app and into real life. Number 6. Ghosting. The ease of disappearing without explanation can leave you feeling disrespected and disposable, but you don't deserve that. One moment, you might be having a promising conversation with someone, but then the next, total radio silence, leaving you with nothing but a feeling of disappointment and a lower self-esteem in the end. This is unfortunately a common tactic when it comes to social media. A staggering 80% of millennials have been ghosted, and dating apps are the prime place for this kind of activity. It shows a lack of seriousness and maturity toward fostering a real connection between two people. Sometimes it's justifiable. It's understandable if the conversation isn't going anywhere, but it's another thing if it happens when you least expected it. But don't worry, ghosting isn't a reflection of your worth. It's merely a symptom of how digital dating works. Anonymity allows people to easily ghost anyone. It might be because the connection wasn't there, or it may be because they weren't taking it seriously in the first place. Whatever the reason, don't let this activity put you down. You deserve someone who gives you the respect to properly cut things off instead of disappearing out of the blue. Number 5. Hookups. Dating apps tend to focus more on quick meetings than on helping people find long-term love. This approach promises fun and freedom, but for many guys, it leads them away from true love and connection. The truth is, when relationships are short and without deep feelings, they can leave men feeling empty. These quick meetups don't build trust or commitment, which are key for a lasting relationship. Instead of bringing people closer, these temporary connections make loneliness worse because they lack the depth of real love. Hookup culture is big in dating apps. It pushes for fleeting moments over meaningful connections, making finding true love feel like a game of chance. The mental effects are serious too. Men feel the emotional strain after casual flings. They might regret their choices, feel bad about themselves, and miss having meaningful connections. Constantly chasing short-term pleasure makes it hard to develop the skills needed for a committed relationship, like talking openly, showing vulnerability, and bouncing back from tough times. Research shows that even though it's easy to find someone for a quick hookup on apps, people aren't as happy with their relationships. It's ironic. The tools meant to bring us together are pulling us apart. Number 4. Time-consuming. Swiping and chatting can really eat up your time, keeping you from hanging out in the real world. You spend hours looking for someone special, swiping and talking, hoping for a bit of luck. But too often, it feels like you're just walking in place, moving a lot, but not getting anywhere. And it's not just you who feels this way. It's something many people go through. Dating apps can make you feel like there's so much choice that it ends up taking more time than it should. You find yourself stuck in a cycle, swiping non-stop for the ideal person who always seems just beyond reach. Number 3. Cynicism. Having bad times on dating apps can make you start thinking negatively about love and relationships too. This is what they call romantic cynicism. It's an attitude that sneaks up on you after too many swipes and empty chats, making you wonder if true love is even real. This cynical view isn't without reason. It comes up as a way to protect yourself from how commercialized love has become online. The way we see romance has been totally changed by online dating, pushing us to actively search instead of letting love happen spontaneously. The old stories of love at first sight and chance meetings are fading away, replaced by the idea that we have to sift through profiles and use algorithms to find our perfect match. Number 2. No magic. The way apps work takes away from the random meetings that might lead to love happening when you least expect it. Loss of serendipity is a real concern. With dating apps using all these special algorithms and preferences to match us up, we miss out on the surprise of finding love in unexpected places. It's not like before, when you might meet someone special just by chance at a coffee shop or catch someone's eye during a party. Now, it's more about going through a list of people who've been picked out for you, which leaves little room for those sparks that happen out of nowhere. Research shows that more and more people are getting tired of using dating apps. They miss meeting others in natural ways. Because these apps let us pick and choose what we want in someone else, they also take away the happy accidents that can make meeting someone so special. Number 1. Pressure to perform. Trying to get noticed on these apps can make you feel like you have to put on a show. There's a lot of pressure to be funny, smart, and perfect every time you send a message. Dating apps can really stress you out with this constant need to impress others. It feels less like making a real connection and more like being on stage, always trying to grab the spotlight among tons of profiles. What ends up happening is that you find yourself putting on an act instead of being your true self. The natural flow of romance turns into something where every move is planned for how appealing it can be. And this is when we lose sight of what makes connecting with someone genuinely special. If you learned something new, leave a like, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more.